We are live. Welcome. Okay, so I am going to, what about here? Okay, I am going to begin doing lives more regularly, but let me tell you this. It's not really me just talking to you, although I guess that's okay, but not really. It's really me bringing someone on that wants to be coached. Hey Jordan, how are you? Good to see you, my love. So if you want to be coached, if you have something that is pressing right now, this is, by the way, completely unscripted, it's live coaching. Whoever comes on that has something they want to speak to, I'm going to bring you on screen and we are going to speak to, and I'm going to support you through whatever it is that you're moving through right now. So hello to everyone who's joining. Thank you to everyone who's joining. So if you want some coaching and you're ready to get vulnerable and get very real and get very authentic and truthful with where you're at, I'm going to support you. I'm going to be doing this at least once a week, right? So just so you guys know, before I tell you how to bring yourself on and so forth, I do this for a living and I've been in the personal transformation space for 22 years. And I've been coaching for nearly that long. My background's in psychology and behavioral science and so forth, and many other qualifications, particularly in the realm of trauma, somatic therapy and so forth. And for me, I'm deeply, deeply passionate about supporting people through their pain, through their journey, through their transitions, through their crossroads. It doesn't always have to be about pain and trauma and difficulty that sometimes we go through, right? But if you're here and you're moving through some pain and you don't mind being public with what you're moving through and you feel courageous enough and ready, then I invite you to ask to come on screen and I'll just randomly choose someone. I may get through a couple depending on what the issue is. You know, I also have a coaching institute, Elementum Coaching Institute, that I co-own with my beautiful wife, Christine, and our amazing friends, Alexi and Preston. And we do a lot of this there as well, right? We do a lot of live coaching, supporting our students, which are essentially coaches, in really becoming not only better coaches, but working through their stuff that clears the clutter, creates spaciousness in themselves, that allows them to really be more profound humans, make a greater impact on their own lives and the lives of others. So I want to give back. I want to serve. I mean, I do that anyway. But here's what I'm asking of you. If you are wanting to come on, I want you to ask to come. Okay, here we go. Someone's here. Kathy, I'm going to bring you on. And remember, there may be an opportunity to do more than just one coaching session here, one deep dive session. So I brought you on, Kathy. There you are.
Hello.
Hey, brave
How
soul.
are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for being here.
Oh my gosh.
This is great.
We chatted on DM. Thank you so much for being so open to everything.
Of course.
I'm currently going through a separation. It's been about 4 months and we were together for 14 years and it kills me because he's totally lying that he's speaking to other people, which I know he is. And there's a part of me that like still wants to work things out because it's now that I've gone through understanding my own trauma and all the areas where I need to grow as an individual, and I'm doing the inner work. And you posted something recently about two people having to do the inner work to have a stronger connection. It can't just be one person. And I was that person that's constantly doing the work. And I am his first partner / turned into a wife. So there's a lot of maturity in a sense of relationship on his side.
Sure.
I could never voice my concerns without him feeling like this.
Sure.
And so now that there's potentially someone else involved, he's got his rose-colored glasses on. And I know that he's going to bring his shit, pardon my French, into that next relationship as well. And a lot of people are saying that he might come running back, but I also don't want to just like get my hopes up thinking that, you know, he's going to come back one day.
Yeah.
So I'm lost. I'm confused. I'm in a better place. I talk about losing my mind anymore.
But Kath, I appreciate you sharing that. Firstly, thank you for being open and honest And I know it's, being in a long-term relationship where so much of your identity has been tied up with that other person and in the we component, right? Like in the, this is us and this is how we present to the
Sorry,
world.
second. Yeah, at 4 o'clock.
Is it really 4 o'clock?
No, it's 3:36. I'll come get you in a second, okay? Sorry, mom duty.
It's okay. That's okay. You're juggling. I get it.
Mm.
So the fact that you're able to speak to it again without losing yourself is great, and it's important to grieve, and there are a lot of moving parts, this including that little child that just came into the room, right? So it's not just about you and your ex-partner or that relationship, that entity, or it's about you, it's also about a child now, which really adds layers of complication, right? So with that said, I just want to acknowledge where you're at, because sometimes we really need to be seen for where we're at and what we're experiencing and what we're feeling and the raw pain that comes with separation. Yes, you have your own identity. Yes, you're your own person. And for the last 14 years, a lot of your own personhood has been tied up in relationship, and you've been maturing from what I'm hearing, and your partner wasn't really doing the work in the way that you needed him to, or the way that maybe you were requesting but didn't request in the way that he could hear it, or were requesting it very clearly but he didn't want to or couldn't hear it, right? So you mentioned, before I continue, I just want to say that when you come on here and you share this story, you're not the only one with this story. And that's to minimize your story. That's to say you're also supporting others that are listening to this right now. We learn through osmosis, and sometimes we learn even at deeper levels when it's not directly the issue and the theme relates to us, but it's not us that is in the hot seat like you are. And we actually learn deeper. So you're doing a tremendous service to everyone else that is watching this as well, right?
And I want to jump on because I know that every time I share my story, I step into my power, but also allows other people to step into their power. And yes. I know that I have a voice, and that's where I found that when I was growing up in my household, we didn't have a voice. And finally, when I found it, I didn't know how to express it in a way where it was loving and compassionate.
Yeah.
It was very much like this. That's how I grew up, right? It was very much love, and he didn't grow up this way, so I can understand where he's at in terms of his pain and how he's coping with it. He needs to now distract himself, and that kind of makes me hurt for him as well, because I understand that he doesn't necessarily know how to process these emotions because he grew up in a household where it was almost too positive, where he doesn't have tools to deal with anything difficult. He just runs at every chance, and here I am like feeling like I'm grasping, but I also know that the more I chase, the more they run, and I don't want to do that anymore.
So that's interesting, Kathy. Let me pause you there, right? Let me pause you there. So we're speaking a lot to his patterns, and unfortunately there's very little that we can control in this world, that we have mastery of in this world. And things that are out of our control, that are generally outside of us, including people and their personalities and their preferences and their values and their choices, is very much out of our control. And so sometimes I'm hearing you speak a lot to his patterns and what he's doing. And I heard you just say then one of your patterns about chasing, and you don't want to chase, right? So I want to bring this to you. So there's a little girl in there, there's a little Kathy in there that is really hurt, and at some point in her life figured out, more than likely, that if I chase, if I pursue, if I contort, if I acquiesce, if I people please, if I become that thing for someone that they are asking for, then I won't be left, or I won't be hurt, or I'll be loved in a deeper way, or I'll be appreciated, whatever the narrative is, right? Is this resonating so far?
Yeah, I was molested when I was 3. And
so
the person I shared it with, and I don't mind sharing it because this is who I am. I'm not ashamed of it. I did a lot of work through it. The person I told was my mother, and she didn't do anything about it because the Asian culture, we're not supposed to ruffle any feathers, right? So I knew she knew it was wrong. And it just felt so awkward that that little boy that had done this to me didn't get in trouble. So I'm like, okay, like what is happening? And so that came up for me about 5 years ago, when I became a mother. So I digging and digging and digging for the last 5 years, and I realized that I had also put all my love and attention to my son and no longer on my partner. So that's where the beginning stage is. So it's not like it happened overnight. I know where it went wrong. It's been 5 years in the making, and he's done now. But I also feel that connection.
Well, here's the question I have for you. Have you given yourself a sincere opportunity? And firstly, let me acknowledge that any form of invasive abuse is very difficult on the body and very difficult on the nervous system and the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And we spend most of our lives being in a vigilant state, neurologically, physiologically, psychologically, relationally, to push away that thing, that invasiveness, that abuse happening again. And we do it in very subtle ways and very sometimes overt ways. And we behave and we attract and we create relationship dynamics to ensure that we are really, really safe, right? But sometimes that's working against us, not in the sense that it's not keeping us safe, but it's as a byproduct, it's pushing people away and we're shutting ourselves down, or we're being aspects of self or expression of self that actually isn't authentic to us. And so I want to know, have you given yourself an opportunity to really grieve the loss of the relationship and the loss of yourself in this relationship?
I don't even know what that looks like. I feel like I've done so much crying.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're like saying this, like now I'm starting to feel kind of like the emotions come up. And driving, like I took a trip away just by myself for a couple of days down to Seattle. So I drove, and like driving is very therapeutic for me. I've worked with coaches. I did this coaching recently with this Led by Love group to help empower me as an individual again, because I myself, because I became a mother. I just was like, okay, am I mom? Am I a partner? Am I a sister? Like, who the fuck
am I? Yeah.
And it's, of course, hard for a partner to see because I had so much control before.
So the thing here's what I don't want to doubt what you're experiencing, and I don't. I really believe you have actively grieved. Here's what happens though. As you continue to pay so much attention to what he's doing and what he's not doing and what may happen and what may not happen, you're stunting your ability to grieve fully.
Okay, sorry, give me 1 second.
It's okay. So as Kathy's attending to her beautiful child, let me say that again, right? When we concern ourselves with what other people think and what else they're moving through, and we make their well-being or their actions a priority over our own, what generally happens is grieving or expressing or expelling or releasing, it's not a full expression of that. And the reason why it's not a full expression of that is because our energetic is occupied or preoccupied with something else and someone else. So we don't give ourselves an opportunity to fully heal and fully feel, right? And so it's not that Kath isn't putting any effort in. She is putting in effort. She's also juggling so much of life. Hello, darling. She's juggling a lot. She's juggling parenthood and to some capacity single parenthood. She's juggling the loss of a partner. She is at some level distracting by concerning herself with others. And that also, Kath, is a pattern. And probably part of that is cultural as well, right? Like within your community. And at that age, when you were 3 years old and you were hurt and you needed the love of mum, that little 3-year-old girl was basically shown to sweep that under the carpet. And by you, here's the very subtle connection. By you concerning yourself in minute ways with your husband, I don't think he's your ex-husband yet, but with your husband and what he's doing, what he's not doing, and all of that, you are actually you're enforcing or reinforcing a pattern of negation, a pattern of negating yourself, which is what your mum showed you. You're not important. We don't ruffle feathers in our community. We're going to let that go. And that's when your power is taken from you, when it's stripped from you, and the persons that are meant to protect you the most are not protecting you and not helping you and supporting you, i.e. our parents, our primary caregivers, we develop an understanding of who we are in the world, and our self-worth becomes diminished. And we act from that place. And so much of this, and I'm not saying that your husband is coming back or not. I don't have a crystal glass ball. And yes, I get that he's also distracting, and that's how he's dealing with his pain or whatever he's going through. Maybe it's not pain for him, because the other real alternative is that he has moved on, and I don't know enough about that. And again, you know what? All of that's irrelevant, because, and it's not about you moving on or not moving on. It's about you creating space in your body to release what is present and alive for you in this moment, right? Just answer me this quickly, please. When did you separate?
Sorry, I'm getting emotional now because I hear you.
Don't be sorry, my love. Don't be sorry. And I appreciate, don't even answer the question. Just pause for a second. Just pause. Just let yourself be seen. You're doing really well. This is part of the healing, right? I know you've cried many tears, and there are a lot of tears when it comes to this kind of loss, you know? You're a young woman, and for 14 years of your life, or a lot of your life, you've been with this man, and you've been in this relationship, and it's hurtful. And this is really, really helpful for you, what you're doing right now. And I know you've cried many tears, and I'm sorry for that. And if this is alive for you right now, I want you to welcome this as you would welcome a smile and a hug from your beautiful boy, from your beautiful child, right? Like we have to, yeah.
That I keep pushing through. He's my reason.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah.
What was your question again?
My question was, when did you separate?
About 4 months ago.
Yes, it's very, very, very new. It's very new. It's such a shock to your system still. Has he moved out of the home? That's tough.
Well, we navigated to a new country.
Yeah. Where from?
From Canada.
Okay, to America.
To Nicaragua, Central America. Yeah.
To Central America, yeah.
And then that's where we separated, because I just couldn't deal with his lack of wanting to communicate anymore. Anytime we needed to figure stuff out, he would just leave the house and leave.
You know, yeah, I hear that. And I don't believe, I'm just going to be an advocate for you for a moment. Yeah. I don't believe that's what you want. I don't think you want someone that is not willing to do the work. And I'm going to say something to you, and I don't mean to be rude here. You mentioned that he's seeing the world through rose-colored glasses. There's a part of you that's still seeing him and the relationship through rose-colored glasses. And that's okay. That's part of the transition. There's no judgment in that. That's just where you're at. And I want you to own where you're at, because you're still polarizing the relationship. There's a reason and reasons why you've separated. And what you're focusing on is all the good things and all the great things. And there's nothing wrong with that. They exist. But what also exists in equanimity and maybe in inequality is these ways of being that didn't mesh with you, and that ultimately he was unwilling to evolve through, and maybe you at some level. And so it's not about are we getting back together or are we not? It's about where am I right now and what can I do for me? Because I have a feeling that you've prioritized everyone else but you for a very long time in your life. Yeah. And you're doing the same right now with him by worrying about him and but he's not getting it right and he's just seeing through rose-colored glasses. And no, you learned at a very young age that you're not important. And part of that was from the sexual abuse, and part of that was probably familial dynamics as well that compounded that. That was an acute experience, and the familial dynamics were an intense experience over many years that helped you form an identity of self that says, I'm not important. So if you're going to get anything from today, it's me telling you that you are important and you need to start prioritizing yourself. Like you really, my love, you really need to start prioritizing yourself and let those tears come.
That means a lot. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I know this is really hard, and I'm sorry that you're moving through this. It sucks. It fucking sucks. Full stop.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. It hurts and it sucks and it's not great. And the only way through is through. And part of that through for you is feeling in ways that you probably haven't felt before, and releasing, you know, trapped emotions, unfelt feelings, ways of seeing the world that have limited you, you know, doing little things every day that can prioritize you, right? Like I don't know what that looks like. Let's actually talk about that for a moment, because I want to give you something tangible that you can move through, but I also want you to just be in your tears right now, or whatever emotions are coming up, because this is part of the healing. You've got so many people here, including myself, that are witnessing this beautiful person just being really raw and vulnerable, and there's deep healing and deep medicine in that as well. So something that you can do that's not prioritizing your son, that's not prioritizing other people, but that's prioritizing you every day. What is something that you can do for you on a daily basis? It can be a micro thing, it can be a macro thing, but I'm curious, what can you do for you?
Well, I meditate every day and I work out every day. I eat well.
Right.
So I do all these little things for me, but I just feel like there's still something missing. I feel a little bit lost. What does that even look like, you know? Is it good enough that I'm doing all these things for myself? Like, do I need to do more? Like, I've always been an overachiever because I realized it came from a place of lack. And so I'm that overachiever to make up for that emptiness inside. And I realized that I was grasping at all these external things to fill this void. And I don't know how to fill this void. Am I doing it right? It feels so foreign to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm pouring from an empty cup for so long, you know, and I feel it makes me feel selfish sometimes when I'm like, I need to take some time for myself.
Well, I'll provide you with some suggestions, and you'll feel into if it works for you, right? But let me just make a couple of connection points for you. One of the reasons that you feel guilt around being selfish is again connected to that low self-worth piece around I'm not important enough to be taken care of. I'm a little girl, I've just been hurt, and my mother isn't even taking care of me. And the development of vantage point of self has come really from that, right? Like really, really going deep into that. And so the overachiever piece, the perfectionist piece, is a compensation for low self-worth, right? That doesn't mean that you're not worthy. It means that you carry a perception of yourself that's probably very unconscious that says, I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not important. And that it's working with that little girl. And so everything that I'm hearing you do, you know, you eat well, you train, you meditate, even the meditation piece, it's task orientated. Like it's got, there's an end goal. I need to sit here for 10 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour, and I need to close my eyes, I need to breathe a particular way. I need to hit the gym, I need to go to the gym and do this, and I need to eat and my macros and whatever it may be, right? Depending how deep you are with that, how articulate you are. I have a feeling you're pretty detailed. Maybe for you, it's just creating a little bit of space during your day to connect with that little girl. Like where you create space in your day where you literally have nothing planned and you do nothing, even if you're just staring at a wall or going for a walk, but it's not planned. It's not like I've got to go for a 45-minute walk and I've got to make sure my heart rate's over 80 BPM. It's just, can you create space to spend time with what is alive and present for you? And so it's coming into presence and mindfulness. And part of that is literally mindfulness practice, where you're coming into the present moment. Because when we experience abuse, Kat, being in the present moment is usually very unsafe. And so we do things, it's a paradox, right? We do things that get us in our body, but that kick us out of our body. And so what I mean by that is when we're present and we're just really feeling, and we're in nature maybe, and we're looking at the trees and we're looking at the sky, and we're really present to what our body's doing, we can feel our breath expanding and deflating and so forth. That can be very uncomfortable for us because usually that's been being present in the body has been associated with intense pain, i.e. abuse, right? So in those moments where you're slowing down, being present with yourself is a gentle reminder, hand on your heart, hand on your belly. This is the nurturance canal here. When we make contact with skin to skin with our bodies, we're telling our body, our brain through the vagus nerve that we are safe, we can engage in parasympathetic nervous system response. We can just slow down a little bit. And in that slowing down, we begin to see ourselves in a deeper way. Now, it can be a little confronting, but in those moments, as you're calming yourself and you're being in your body, you remind yourself, that was then and this is now. I'm safe in my body now. I'm present in my body now. I'm here in my body now. It's okay to be, so it's safe to be in my body now. And it's working with that little 3-year-old girl. Christine and I have an inner child course that we've created, level 1 and level 2, that goes deep into this, right? It's very profound, 5 intense days or 5 days of full course. But this inner child work for you, I think, is really re-nurturing and reparenting yourself, and it is a process, and relationships become this catalyst for transformation. So what you're moving through and going through right now with your partner, your husband, your ex-partner husband, is an opportunity for you to actually rewrite, not just rewrite, but actually release so much of the struggle and the pain that you've held on to for so long, and that little girl has just been so scared of tapping into and touching. What are you feeling and what are you hearing me say?
I hear and feel everything. I hear and feel everything. And I'm willing to do the work. That I've always been that person that is always for the next thing to help me grow and be a better person and understand. That's why I think I'm at where I'm at. But I think what hit hard for me is still thinking that inner child is still needs a bit more attention, because I thought I had done so much work around that already.
And I want to say something, because I don't want to minimize the work you've done. And more importantly, I'm not doing that. I don't want you to do that. You
Right.
have done a lot of work. I mean, a lot or a little is contextual and comparative. It's irrelevant, actually. But you've done work. You have awareness, and you have more than awareness. I think you've actually taken action. You have a deeper understanding. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I read once, I'm pretty sure it was Socrates, that said, as I age, the more I know, the less I know. And as we do inner work and we open our hearts up, we open ourselves up to more. Not necessarily more work, because there's always space for integration, but there's always layers. It's like a false summit when we're climbing a mountain. We think we're hitting the summit. Yeah.
No.
And then we get to the summit and we're like, what? Are you serious? This isn't the summit? And we're looking up and it's just boom. Sometimes that's what the inner work is. And there's always an opportunity to pause and integrate. And so we don't always have to be doing the work, but as human beings, as expanding beings, we're consistently expanding. And so the invitation to you is to not see it like, I've done all this work, there's more. It's to say, I'm so grateful for what I've done, for where I've been, for what I've learned. It's given me this awareness that now I have, that's brought you to this place here, and we're doing some coaching, and this is amazing, right? Like you're in Nicaragua at the moment, or you're in America?
Oh, I'm back in Canada.
Okay.
So we go back to Nicaragua in August, like 17th of August. I just rebooked our flights. And this is the thing, I realizing going through my journey, I want to eventually be in a position like you, because I feel like, fuck, if I don't know any of this stuff, and I'm a person that likes to dig and grow and just keep going, like what, like so many people are suffering out there and they need people like us to help them, you know? And I just feel like, wow, if I knew back then what I know now, where would I be today, you know?
Yep.
So,
I hear that, and I just want to be mindful. I don't want you to live in that regret. I want you to be where you are right now. Right? Like I said this to a client earlier today, and she's got successful businesses, her and her husband, they do very well externally in the world. And, you know, she's experienced a fair amount of different trauma in her life. And she is constantly busying herself. Busyness, distraction, right? And it's easily justified, whether it's her children, whether it's her business that she started, and now she has clients that she has to attend, whatever it may be, there's always a reason. And I said to her, the season of your life right now is not in the external world, it's here internally. So she has taken action for the next, from August 15th, once one of her containers finish, for the rest of the year, there's nothing new that she's creating, nothing. She's taking deeper time to go within herself. My invitation to you, Kath, is to potentially really spend this season, however long the season is to go deeper within you in a way that hasn't been with a partner or with your husband, but just with you, right? That, and your body just responded to that. It's that, right? And so you're doing the work from a different perspective now. You're going deeper within yourself, exploring yourself, loving yourself, nurturing that part of you without distraction of a partnership that you have to attend to. And I'm not going to say this is a blessing in disguise, because you're there, you can receive the reframe, but it's not, you still need there's so much that needs to be released. And so whatever that looks like is going back into the caverns of self And of course, integrating and incorporating joy and play in your life as well. I want you to be with friends. I want you to laugh with your child when you can, when it's authentic to you. I want you to watch funny movies. I want you to work out your body. I want you to be in pleasure. Like, no more fucking pain. Pleasure.
Used to be a stand-up comedian. Like, what happened?
Well, that's a great question. No, I don't want you to answer it now, but that's a really great question to actually sit with. And that, I have a feeling, I could be wrong, but part of you with your partner, that dissipated when you either got together or in the relationship or other things became a priority. And so maybe it's coming back to those things that light you up in time, patiently, slow, don't push anything. That's my hope and anticipation for you. And that's where I feel you can go, is really feeling deeply in ways that you haven't before, to be really available to yourself, not for your child. I'm not saying don't be available for your child, but primarily you. That's where it's at.
Okay. Because when I go back to Nicaragua, all I want to do is just surf.
Then I want you to surf.
That's one thing I already told myself. But then see, this is where it's hard. I overthink. Am I now pushing myself too? Because when it comes to surfing, I'm like, okay, now I need to get up on this board like by yesterday.
So you may need to change your relationship to surfing. And it's not about performance and peak, well, it's peak experience, but it's not about performance and accomplishment and being in that masculine energetic, but it's more about being with the actual movement, the experience, being with the process. And this can be a deep reframe for you, but what it will bring up and bring to your awareness is parts of yourself that you probably haven't seen before when you're not in that. And there's a comment here from someone: you don't have to figure it out all right now, day by day. Big yes to that. Permission to just be with where you're at. Permission to just look at your life and breathe. You don't have to do all the things. I think that's been part of the conditioning for you. Again, probably a cultural inference, upbringing, familial, and then you've taken it on board. And that has affected every single person you've attracted and brought into your life, because they're matching that energetic in the way that they need to.
Okay, no problem.
Can you put it in?
Do you want to open this?
Yeah, can you put it in a bowl?
No, just hold it like this.
No.
Go get a bowl from there.
Where?
In that or there.
Or the door?
The second.
This one?
That one. Down. The middle one. Yep.
No.
So
This one?
breathe, create space to breathe.
This.
Got it.
When was the last time? Are you a serial? Are you in serial relationships, like back-to-back relationships generally? No.
No.
Good.
No.
Good.
Although I have been open to dating other people because I'm using
girls. This kid has superpowers.
Oh, super cool. You have superpowers.
Spider-Man.
You're Spider-Man, yep.
I would recommend not dating right now. I would recommend dating yourself and being with you.
Someone told me to just try it to see where I'm at, and I was actually pleasantly surprised because I'm not getting attached, and it made me realize like how much I need to work on boundaries. So that's such a great eye opener. I'm like, oh, like the old Kathy would do that. There's
going to be benefits to anything and everything we do, right? There's at some level there's benefits to shooting up heroin every day as well. Like, we can find the benefits in everything, right? I use extreme examples to get a point across. I'm not saying don't date. It's a hard no. If it was me, I wouldn't date. Because again, what's happening is you're playing into a pattern of distraction and prioritization of others other than yourself. Like, I would love for you to just really learn through being with what it really feels like to be with you in ways that you never have before.
What would some suggestions be? Like, I just like, people say date myself, but like, what does that even look like?
Well, I guess that's a blanket statement, right? So I'll be a little more specific. When I say date yourself, it's everything that we've spoken about. It's you acquainting yourself with these parts of you that have been foreign to you, particularly that inner child work as a starting point, right? And working with that inner child means that there's going to be volatility and newness and mystery and challenge and pain and fears that come up. And if you're dating, it's a very convenient distraction, right? It's a very, very convenient, oh, let me just put my energy in this, right? And so it's assessing and learning your patterns. It's working with a coach. It's working with someone. It's being part of a group where you can get reflected upon, right? So it's doing things in solitude, not in loneliness, but in solitude. So things that you normally do in partnership, do them by yourself. Be with these parts of you. Be with your consciousness in those moments. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's a lot of reflection and a lot of just focus on you, right?
Got it. I would be interested in your childhood course.
Of course, yeah. It's on my. You can go on my website, stephanosophandos.com. You'll find it there under courses and programs, and
Okay.
You may even find it on. Yeah. You'll find it there on my website. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. It's a really powerful course. You learn it. You go at your own pace. We teach it live as well, but we won't teach it live this year. We'll probably teach it live next year, but it'll be towards the end of next year. But you get it as an evergreen. You know, it's a beautiful course.
Yeah. So I've reached out to a couple coaches, like embodiment coaches, you know.
Yeah.
So I have yet to have some discovery calls with them too. Okay.
Sure.
I'm in the right track.
I believe you are. And all of this is part of your process, right? Like the grieving and the getting it out and the thinking and the feeling and, you know, what is he doing? And if only this, and it's all part of the growth. It's all part of the journey. You don't have to berate yourself for it. It's all part of you and your growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate you coming on, Kath. And, you know, I'm going to do this more than likely every Monday, 5:30 p.m. CST, and maybe even another couple of times a week. I'll plan out my schedule, but every Monday, 5:30 CST, when come on here and do some live coaching and just really support. I think, you know, whoever's here now, have you learned something from this about your own life, just from listening to Kath? And probably love heart or probably yes in the comment section, because, you know, we learn through osmosis, we grow through osmosis. And so if this is something that has resonated with you, then just, you know, put a yes there as well. It's affirmation for Kath too. And, you know, you're not alone, Kath. Like there's you're not alone, my love.
Thank you so much. I love your work. Thank you for just spreading your light and just the understanding of like the masculine, right?
Yeah.
I follow your work closely.
Yeah.
So
thank you, Kath. Thank you. I appreciate that. Blessings to you. Thank you for coming on. Lots of love. And you remember, you're not alone in your journey, right? You're not alone.
Got it. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Take care. So guys, really appreciate you all. Thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna do it so, you know, a little more space next time. I'm gonna create you know, more space to be in here and share and teach and get a couple of people on as well, not just one. But you know, thank you for being here. You know, share this, spread this. This is a really, really important topic, breakups, right? And how we can redefine ourselves through breakups, and how we can redefine our life and our love and the way that we love through breakups, and what that says about us and who we're becoming, right? And I've been through many breakups myself as well, and I look back at so many of those breakups. Some I feel I handled, you know, fairly well, but the majority I really didn't. I didn't handle them internally well. I didn't handle them externally well, right? And so, you know, we can just, we learn and we grow from our experiences, but we can't learn and grow when we're in judgment of ourselves. It's a really important point I want to make here. We cannot learn and grow when we're in judgment of ourselves. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. If you're interested in coaching with me, I have a couple slots available for the next couple of months. www.coachwithsteph.com, coachwithsteph.com. You can apply for coaching there. And of course, my website, stephanosophandos.com. Just so many blessings to you. So much love to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Share this. And beyond that, if the world does their inner work, right? If the world is willing, just willing, if the world is willing, imagine what the world can be. The world is already beautiful. And there's some fucked up areas of the world and parts of us as a consciousness and collective consciousness and humanity. But it's also really beautiful. And imagine how deeper we can go. Pound blessings to you, folks. See you soon.